So the summary I read was Shakespeare in the Bush. It was all about this guy who went into the bush of Central Africa during the rainy season to talk with a tribe. He'd been there before, but this is a excluded tribe, just kind of isolated, with about 150 members in it. And it's in the rainy season, so they can't really go anywhere. They're pretty much just stuck to their huts, uh, drinking very, very strong beer and telling stories. This is their way of communicating in their culture. It's most of these cultures have like oral traditions. They'll be talking about that's how they pass down their history, stories, life, legacies, and everything. Whereas here in the West, we're used to writing things down or expressing in artworks and everything. It's all about an Englishman who goes from Oxford, a very prestigious school, to the bush. Uh, he learns their language and gets enthralled with their storytelling culture. And he has been kept being told by the chief, "Hey, join us for storytelling. Tell your own story of your own." He prefers not to. He rather would stick in his tent and read Hamlet. But one day, he's enthralled into it, forced to pretty much, and he gets started talking about Hamlet, a Shakespearean novel, a tragedy, very complex. This impacts worldview. It affects how we view other cultures and the difference between what we think is civilized and what we believe isn't. And the power of storytelling in different cultures, as I said earlier, very oral in these primitive countries, nations. And we use storytelling as a form of art and expression rather than history, such as romantics, drama, tragedy, and history. They use storytelling as a form of education and world experiences. Some ethnocentric bias he had going into this. He believed they couldn't understand Hamlet and the complexity of a Shakespearean novel. He was like, these guys are just primitive, and they only understand simple forms of stories. They won't understand what Hamlet is, and they won't believe it. They'll just criticize me, which makes sense. He did explain they are very critical in storytelling. You have to be really good at it. So this challenges their own cultures because everyone seems to believe that their own culture is better than everybody else's. I'm a little biased of that being from Wisconsin. And we find favoritism within ourselves and how we grew up and what we understand as normal. Should be forced to learn a new set of norms when telling a story, and he's constantly challenged on things that he claims to be true in his story. Constantly, they're like, "Oh, this isn't possible. Zombies can't exist. Ghosts, different cultures clashing on beliefs." So he has to explain that this is how he believes, and he sometimes snaps at them a little bit. So experiences from my own culture, being from Wisconsin, it's completely normal to rely on family in anything. Through thick and thin, trial and happiness, family is right there. Within a 30-minute drive of each other, everybody's in the same county, all very, very close to each other. Whereas I've met a lot of people who their family is in 10 different states. In Wisconsin, almost nobody moves out of the county that we were born in. Pretty much just stay there, and family is a huge part of it, especially with businesses and farms. Kids are expected to start working on the farm as soon as they can pretty much walk. 5 or 6, they have chores. And if your family has a business, you're working at it from age 12, 13 and onward. Expected to chip in and help the family out. Another huge thing about Wisconsin, you probably can already heard, is huge drinking culture. Kids as young as 13 will end up drinking and get drunk. I mean, it's not really looked down upon. I do look down upon it. It's not something I'm exactly proud of, but huge drinking culture, and it started at a very young age. Actually, the drunkest state in the U.S. by far. But communicating across cultures, focus on similarities rather than difference. Focusing on differences will just lead to arguments and confrontations, whereas focusing on the similarities, how you can relate, it builds stronger relationships and how you can relate to everybody else. When you're in a different culture, though, you should teach some, but learn more. You're there to learn about their culture rather than teaching your own. It'll be 1 against 100. You should learn something about their culture. You don't have to agree with it, but you should try to understand it and understand where they're coming from and how they do things and what they all do. I've had culture misunderstandings to different places I've traveled. I've gone to Europe all over the place. One of my favorite parts, though, was Central and Eastern Europe. Went to Germany, Poland, Czech Republic, and Hungary. And I was really scared to ask people, "Hey, what was the history, or how did things go for you during the Second World War and Cold War?" I was afraid they'd be like, This is offensive. Why would you ask this? In actuality, they were very happy, and they gave me extreme detail on their life and hardships through the Nazis and the communists and the Soviets. Uh, they're very happy to talk about it. They don't want the history repeating, so they'll talk about it and explain in great detail. Actually, I had a tour guide break into tears, just giving us a tour about a Soviet bunker and what he had to experience in Hungary during the Second World War. It's very moving. And another one is France. You think everybody there is snobs and just will shun you. Actually, the countryside, they're very, very nice people. Paris, different story, but in the countryside, they're very nice people, and they'll do things for each other. It's very family oriented too out there in the country of France. So, in conclusion, most important is to be mindful of people you're talking with and interacting with. Keep an open mind. You don't have to agree with everything they say, but do try your best to understand. Be respectful and understanding. You don't have to agree, like I said before. Learn their norms, especially what isn't normal for you, so you don't offend them in any way, and just learn their culture. And you're the one learning, don't teach.